We are working very much with what I call relevance at scale. So everyone has been targeted with this quote unquote pronunciation. So when you use the first name, company name, and so forth, and everyone sees that's all either AI generated or just copy pasting. So what I'm working a lot is with is to really hyper segment the ICP and hyper personalize those copy, regardless if it's a call or email.
Today, my guest is Christopher. Christopher is head of sales at Infobric. Christopher, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to the show. And thanks for joining me. Please introduce yourself, the company, and tell us what you guys do.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Pete. Well, I've spent the last 15 years working in different go-to-market roles across SaaS and ConTech. Started, doing the hard and groundwork. And the last 7 years, I've been focusing a lot on building, scaling, and leading commercial organizations. On top of that, I had 5 years of as a management consulting, focusing on go-to-market strategies, structure, and execution models. And I've also been on the entrepreneurial roller coaster for the last decade, starting, failing, and learning a lot from building companies, multiple ventures. Most of them didn't put out well. Some of them did. So I founded a company called Equipment Loop, which was a platform digitizing equipment management in construction. And me and my co-founder, Simon, also my best friend, we built it from the ground up and eventually exited that in 2020 when Summa Equity and Infobric acquired the company. And that's how I got into Infobric. And today I'm responsible for the full go-to-market motion across all different platforms and markets. And we aim to scale this now outside of the Northern European markets, looking into US and so forth.
Super cool and great story, actually. I love that you come from the go-to-market world, right? And really trying to find a business and then actually then work on solutions. I always say, obviously, with your niche, it's probably a little bit more difficult because it's a very complex product, but try to find something that there is a need. That means sell it and then obviously now work into refining those products and how to deliver this. Okay, fantastic. Love the story. Now, please introduce the Infobric as well. Tell us about the company and those solutions for the construction.
Yeah, sure. So Infobric is now the leader in ConTech in the Nordics. We're approaching 100 million in MRR or ARR with a very strong and growing profitability. So we're rapidly expanding this business. We have a very scalable platform in the back of it. And we're on a mission to digitize the largest industry in the world, which is, of course, the construction. So we focus on productivity, safety, sustainability. And this spans across not only the workforce within construction, but also the equipment, the machines around that. We serve not only the general contractor, but also the financiers, the developer, subcontractors, so forth. So kind of the whole ecosystem around construction. So that's basically Infobric in a nutshell.
Awesome. Amazing. Was that the founders and the company, was that, coming from the construction industry, or is that opened by the software people that decided to go into construction? How it all started? How did you find that initial product market fit?
Well, like I usually said, we have, as a startup, you're looking for product market fit. And then I guess when you enter the scale up phase and we're beyond that, obviously, you look for process market fit eventually. But going back to how this company was founded, I think it was founded on the notion of being very close to the customers. I think sometimes it's an advantage that you're not really in the industry, but you're able to challenge that industry. So it all started in software, in monitoring equipment, the workforce processes, and completely create solution based on the customer needs. So be very close to the construction sites, to the ones building the stuff. And that's across all the platforms and solutions we have today, regardless if it's a machine-focused platform, if it's a workforce-focused platform, or whatever it might be.
And the size, because from my understand, being such a big, and when you introduce that, you actually do subcontractors and different, branches of that construction niche. Does it mean that you actually can do something for smaller size companies and also huge companies? Do I understand it correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working with all the major players in the Nordics and the UK, but there's hundreds of thousands of SME companies out there that we surface as well. So I think we have roughly 70,000 companies using the platforms as users, not paying for the platform. So that's obviously a big chunk of it. They're using it. And we have 10,000s of companies obviously using the platform as well. So we're covering the ecosystem. I think we are in a unique position of both delivering value to this market as we do today, and also to monetize it going forward. Because the impact we have is quite unique across all this ecosystem.
Yeah, and I completely get this. It's just, from my understanding, a lot of construction projects, it's just a bunch of very small contracts very often, right? So you're going to have quite a lot of small companies delivering on a very particular thing. That someone does just that job very well, and they are available. For example, if they'll be in the UK here, some project, Colas would most likely have this as a big company, and you will have small contractors. So my question then is, who do you go to and talk to in the first place? Do you go to that, whoever buys this project, that top company, or do you actually start from those small companies and put the pressure on the other? Where do you normally start those conversations for new business?
We actually I totally understand your question, Pete, because like I said, the project is often you have a developer, you have a general contractor, you have lots of subcontracts, and you have some famous projects now running out of long overtime and budget in the UK. Yeah. As we spend some time there. So, well, that's both good and bad for us. But what we do is that we use the fact that we can target them both. So we have value propositions to the ones in the very top that are managing the project. So we have super clear value props to them. We have to the developers as well, and to the one financing it. But in Scale, we work with the subcontractors too, because they are buying the niche products, maybe the smaller packages from us, utilizing that. So we have a ground up strategy as well as the top down. And I think that took a while to actually choose the double way of doing it. I think we had an idea initially we have to choose either or. But I think the combination is very strong, because then we serve them both. And when it comes to a really big mega project, everyone knows us, and we're able to influence that deal from different angles.
Yeah, I completely see why the developer would be interested, right? And it's going to be so much easier to even manage those subcontractors. So I completely see this work from my understanding of how products like this for even different industries, how they work, moving with data, really just visualize everything what's going on, better planning, better budgeting. And we discussed before the podcast how construction works on very tight margins, right? So the savings of few pounds here and there, a few dollars matters, because it just compounds eventually.
Yeah, and
awesome.
Yeah. Like we said, the impact is massive. Like I said, the productivity is not a hype or an initiative in construction. You have to be productive to even survive with those thin margins, and the upside in production is massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so it is quite a big company now, right? You are expanding because I take it, well known in the industry, in the regions that you already are. How do you then go and find that new business for yourself? What's been working really well? Is it networking? Is it some digital strategies? Is it the brand that you have, or referrals, recommendations? What's been working for the last couple of years for you?
Well, last couple of years, I think we have evolved a lot as well. In the last few years, we do have a very strong brand. So Infobric in the Nordics is a very strong brand. It's reliable. People connect that with trust and scale. But since we are surfacing or serving so many different niches now, we have developed the platforms and expanding to new markets. We need to find the more outreach or utilize a stronger outreach capabilities. So working a lot with content marketing, so creating value in white papers, guides, whatever that might be. We're working very much with what I call relevance at scale. So everyone has been targeted with this quote unquote pronunciation. So when you use the first name, company name, and so forth, and everyone sees that's all either AI generated or just copy pasting. So what I'm working a lot with is to really hyper segment the ICP and hyper personalize those copy, regardless if it's a call or email. And I guess you can only do that if you have massive knowledge about the market, and if you have such a small segment or sub-segment that you can understand and be very, very relevant to. So that kind of outreach perspective, regardless in which channel, is what we're leveraging now. We're also working now a bit more on new markets with new platforms of the top of the funnel strategy. trying to cover the full funnel in a better way. We had a lot of gaps, working a lot with demand gen and lead gen and bottom funnel content. So we're now trying to scale and be more effective across the whole funnel and try to be very, very relevant towards those sub-segments of the ICP, if you get what I mean.
Awesome. Yeah, a very good move. Obviously, the personalization is everything. And personalization that goes beyond the first name, it could be a massively winning, strategy. Now, AI allows you to actually do it at bigger scale. So it's not even that manual. Obviously, you need to know how to prompt it, and the sky's the limit, essentially.
Exactly. And I think there's right now it's an overflow of AI generated content. I think we're going to see a pushback, actually. I think there's so much AI generated emails, LinkedIn posts, everywhere. I think you have to be able to AI augment your go-to-market organization in an efficient way and create that quote unquote relevance at scale rather than this kind of personalization at scale, because everyone could call that. But if you're very relevant, you talk to the ICP, you understand the role, you understand the market, and you're able to find, Pete, what's your actually pain points, due to some heavy research at scale. I think that's where you find almost a silver bullet. That's been working very well for us.
Yeah. And I think you put it very nicely, actually, that it's not personalization. It's that keyword that people think, hey, is your favorite restaurant because I can find location and a favorite restaurant. It's irrelevant to what that next part of the email. But if you will use AI to say, contact developer or maybe someone from the team, say, hey, I've just noticed that you won the bid to develop this project. The reason I'm writing to you is because we actually supported, and then AI could find you maybe something the most relevant, right? Supported this project nearby from you, from Silla. And can I show you how we digitalized your logistics for the previous projects? You're going to have probably similar problems with it, right? That's how AI is used to make it relevant.
Yeah, and then you add a role-based part there. Since I know you have this role, I know the business case that's relevant for you, and I have a thesis on the pains you're in. So yeah, you totally get that. So I've been working with this for almost 10 years now, long before AI, and that was just spreadsheets, formulas, exporting, importing, bombarding the CRM with all this semi-automated data. But now with AI, you can obviously build this in a more agentic way, and I guess that's where I see the scale, to be able to do that in a way more efficient way.
Yeah, gotcha. You completely understand the game of this, and obviously it's a volume. It's being still, accurate with who you messaging what. Everyone, will pick up the phone. Everyone reads email, maybe not LinkedIn as much, but those important people that we want to talk to, they actually read email. Is the reason they're not replying is because your email sounds exactly like the other 100 that they got. You completely understand this game. Now, I am super interested to find out what happens after that very first contact, right? Obviously, that you're going to have an extremely long sales cycle. You're going to a niche that is resistant to innovation and changes very often. There are gatekeepers, right? So what you've been approaching of, do you show straight away some demo? Do you need to educate your prospects a little bit more? Do you send case studies? How do you go from that very first touch point to something that's to the moment when they're really more interested of actually finding out more of what you do?
I think we've been trying to be very structured here, because as you scale the company and scale the organization, you have to, like I said, in startups, you're looking for a product market fit. I think in a scale up and beyond, you look for process market fit, right? So I'm very process oriented, and not to be square, but looking into how can we optimize the sales cycle. And like you said, sometimes long, especially in the bigger accounts. So, but what we typically do, it's some basic stuff. You have a really good niche and relevant discovery call with the customer, where you show that you truly understand them. And with AI, you can obviously prepare for that meeting in a fantastic way. So we are putting AI augmentation on every step. So in the first step, you have a preparation part where you really understand the projects you're going into or the company you're meeting, and also the actual people in that call. And what I usually try to help the team doing is to be more straightforward than the typical sales rep, because they are meeting so many sales reps that are asking these same kind of question and try to be both polite and nice. I want them to stand out. So I want them to act like if they were partner in solving this business case for them. And a partner challenge the customer, right? So they assume things, they put out theses of how we can improve their business. And we actually intentionally try to create some friction, not in a bad way, but if I say something to you that kind of hits you well, but maybe something off in the data, because we don't know everything. We don't have your latest, earnings report, but I can assume stuff. And if I put that in front of you and you act on that, that also tells me you're engaged. So we're working in a more challenging way. And for the first call, that would be obviously this call, but try to be challenging, try to be very relevant, and quote unquote, don't have a nice meeting. I can't stand that word. I had a nice meeting. I want to know what the next step is. I want to know what the progress is. And I want the customer to feel that they're on a journey now to solving some real business case. So that's what I'm trying to do in that first step. And obviously then you have demos, you have big calls with multiple stakeholders, and you're influencing other stakeholders at the same time. But yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell.
Great strategy. I like the actually being a little bit more direct. It's not a nice call. Nice calls are good, but they're not, don't create business, right? They can still be nice, don't get me wrong, but is there progress? Did we show them something that really resonated with them? And they say, oh, Christopher, I like it. And how are we going to do this? Like our IT guy team is super busy. Oh, by the way, it's already done, right?
But I guess that's the same thing for you, Pete. I don't want to,
exactly.
I mean, myself, I don't want nice meetings. I don't have time for nice meetings. I mean, my calendar is filled with progress, strategy, scaling. I don't have time for nice meeting. I want to have nice meetings with my friends, not with a supplier. So I want it to be relevant, to the point, and a clear business case behind it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Very direct and going actually after very specific people with a specific goal in mind that you have. We usually put it as your goal should be still qualify, right? Are you the right person? Can I help you? And your goal should be, can I invite you now for another meeting that's longer than this one, right? So now I have a discovery. I can show you some demo. I can consult you right in time as a process, as a sales process. And if you're just going to take a step by step, and I just know it could be 15 steps, it doesn't matter, right? Because sometimes it's required. But if at the end of this conversation I want to have another meeting with you for 45 minutes booked in my calendar at the end of this, you've got your goal. Awesome. I'm curious to know also who is that usually that person in those companies that you talk to? Is it operations? Is it actually IT? Is it finance? Who really, or do you have a messaging for different people as well?
I would say it depends on the size of the contract. I mean, if you go SMB, we are always talking with the owner. I mean, the owner is running the company. It's the CFO, CEO, the heads of, everything, right? So that would be the quote unquote C-level. I also try to encourage the team to go C-level on the big accounts as well. Because at least here in the Nordics, no one are willing, or they don't know how to have a relevant dialogue with the C-levels. And I know we can do that. I mean, I know that we could provide a very relevant business case to the biggest accounts to really affect their either top line, bottom line, or decreasing the risk. Because, I mean, if you're a CEO, that's basically the top 3 KPIs you have, right? So if we're able to form a value proposition that are targeting hopefully all of them, but maybe 1 or 2 of them, then I know we can initiate a very relevant dialogue. So I want to start as high up as I can, because to be fair, there's not too many suppliers that's up there. I mean, people get stuck way before, and there's a lot of strategies to get there, but I want to aim very high up. But we also have very operative dialogues. So that's, we'll also utilize a bottom-up approach, try to influence the influencers, show them in more detail how the product actually works for them. So I guess the strategy differs, but I want to always multi-thread the bigger deals. So we're influencing influencers, get them on board, approaching the C-level with clear business cases and clear messaging in how we can transform their business. So I guess that's the short version at least.
I 100% agree. A lot of people like selling through champions because they're easier to probably get hold of in the first place. What I don't like, and it's great, right? But very often we're actually going to be dealing with people that are going to be using the solutions we sell. But the problem is if they try then to sell it to decision maker, what they actually say, it's not what you said to them. They're going to go, hey, CEO, Christopher had those very cool dashboards for the projects. That's not what you sell, right? Maybe that's what they sell. And with a couple of clicks, you can send some notifications and so. And CEO's like, no, we don't need anything. We've got something else, right? For the dashboards. Well, when you go to the top, you may find the CEO is not actually dealing with operations as much, might not be involved there, right? Or in finances. But then they would say, or IT, and then they will say, actually, I'm going to connect you with my IT person, right? And now they put the pressure of them taking seriously that code review and discovery, right? So at least you have you won over the decision maker, the top person. Great. Awesome. Okay. What's going forward, right? You said expansion to different markets, US. What do you wish you would have more of next year? Is it more of those discovery, more calls, better, the very first touch, right? Is there something in that whole process that you'd like to increase if you could just choose one? Obviously, everyone would like to convert more, but which part of the sales process?
No, but I would say, I mean, sure. But I mean, there's a way to convert more. That's bringing in more qualitative leads. So more qualitative leads into the pipeline. I have a few things in mind for the coming quarters. One is I want to lose more deals faster because there's two winners in a big deal. The first winner is the sales rep that won it. The second winner is the sales rep that left early. So we don't spend too much time on the deals we won't win, right? I'm looking into this data and I think we have a 3x loss velocity compared to a win velocity, right? So the deals we win closes quote unquote fast. We lose them in a long period and it takes so much time for us. So that's one part. The other part is I want to double the output without adding a single person on the team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that is done with technology being even. So I'm spending a lot of time in the AI sphere at the moment. On a personal level, on a professional level, and I try to be one evangelist for the team and provide them with the tools they need for each step in their project or process. Whatever they're doing today, I know we can 2, 3, 4x that quality with the AI augmented process. So I would say to AI augment the whole go-to-market process and the team and build a proper organization structure around that. That's a really important part. And obviously, like I started with, bring in more qualitative leads. I guess that's the most important.
Yeah. So I take it you kind of operate the same as what you do for construction, right? AI optimization, there are ways of getting better, have better data and be more efficient with this. And you completely understand that it's a numbers game, right? The more leads at the top you're going to have and a better qualification, disqualification process. Actually, like calling disqualification, find out very quickly. I'm a big fan of if they're going to say, Christopher, how much does that going to cost me? If you can somehow, even brackets, answer this question, disqualify them, because if you're going to say it's going to cost me that much or too much, I don't want to take you for another 4-hour journey. So you then find out that it's too much for you, right? Because sometimes we can't say the pricing, not because we don't want to, because we don't know, at what level they want to have. So I like this process of disqualification very quickly, just quickly. If you can't disqualify, just do it now, because what's the point of disqualifying 2 months later after another 6 hours, right? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. If someone would like to find out more about, AI in construction, we've got all sorts of followers on different social media and innovation officers. Where could they find you, Christopher? Where can they find more about the company?
Well, look at the website. I mean, we're fairly updated there, and also we're starting to get some more, like I said earlier, some more content out on especially LinkedIn. So I would follow Infobric at those platforms.
Awesome. We'll obviously leave those links below. I'm just watching the time because I think it's been fantastic conversation. Thanks for introducing the company and how you think about that biz dev in terms of, it's a numbers game. AI can really support you. It's not going to do everything for you, but can massively support you in streamlining those operations. And I like the way how you actually think and talk about biz dev and being very direct. Essentially, we are talking about business. There was no point, having a nice coffee conversations, right? When essentially what you want to do is have business conversation, right?
Sure.
Christopher, I'm super grateful that you've joined me today. Thank you very much for this conversation. Thanks.
Thank you as well, Pete. It was joyful. Thank you.